that please do not work till you die. Your value is more than just work. And I say this because you're gonna feel a lot of pressure from, you know, just be transparent about it. If you're a young man and you date women in your life, which unless you're financially okay, you'll still run into these problems. Don't let women pressure you to get a job just to get a job, right? Now, I'm gonna say that, and you know what you're gonna get? That's broke boy energy, right? No, what it is, a lot of women want you to get a job, not because they actually care if you're happy, not because they actually care if you're a productive member of society, not even because they care if you could do anything for them at that point in time. It gives this fake illusion that you actually have a work ethic. I think one thing I've grown to see as I gotten older, there's people that have jobs that are lazy and have no work ethic, and there's people that don't have traditional jobs, and they're one of the hardest working people you'll ever come around. They're self-motivated, they're self-driven. People associate the amount of hours they go somewhere for a week for a work ethic. And I've worked jobs, man. I've worked 60, 70 hours a week at a high intensive job for years. Even if other people work similar hours, we did not work the same 60 to 70 hours, if you get what I'm saying. Two people could clock in, work the same hours, get the same paycheck, and have completely different experiences, and have to put one person to us put way more work than the other person. The hours you put in does not reflect the work ethic. Can we get that out of the way? Okay. But a lot of women, they will pressure you to get a job. Women out here, man, if you're with someone, or if you're dating, or you have a wife, the reason why you never let a woman press you to get a job if it does not align with you at that point in time, for whatever reason. Now this means you're working towards something. You don't just get a job to get a job. Anything that interferes with your purpose, it's not worth your time. I do not care what people tell you. If you don't have kids, if you don't really have to have a need to work excessive amount of hours somewhere just to work somewhere, we live in this excessive hustle culture. You go online and you see people saying, I have 4 jobs. It's like, no, you have 4 jobs that equate to about 1.5 jobs of actual effort and time. People will just say because they do something that equates to a couple extra dollars that it's a job. DoorDashing an hour and a half every other day is not a job. And yes, the thing is a job. Going to work at a part-time apprenticeship for 2 days a week, it's not a job. People call everything a fucking job. If you work 4 jobs and you're making about the equivalent of $400, you're working 1 job. Let's just call it what it is. And you're hustling backwards because you have your mind in all of these different spots and getting nothing out of it, when you could just narrow it down, find something that's a little bit more settled down. But we hear the term 5, 4, 6. I work 6 jobs. Like I'm supposed to be impressed by that shit. I'm sorry that you're stupid. I'm sorry that you work 6 jobs and you're getting less than someone that works no jobs or 1 job. You're hustling backwards. It's kind of fucking stupid if you're pretty honest about it. You don't have 4 jobs, you work 35 hours across the board. You work about 1.5 at best. Stop over-exaggerating. People love to over-exaggerate their hustle. So what social media has done, and it's really blinded people to where you got 2 different extremes. You got the black pill mode, or whatever you want to call it, the minimalism. You got the size society of men that have just kind of given up on any type of work, and they do the minimum to just survive, and because like it's like, what's the point of working hard, you know, type of thing. Then you got the complete opposite, where everything is about the perception of how hard someone's working. It doesn't really matter what the outcome you're actually getting out of it. So a lot of women see that and they assume if you're not working X, Y, and Z amount of hours in a week, you're not trying out here, you're lazy, or you don't have a work ethic. It doesn't matter what your recent history of the past 8 years of your life. A lot of women, all they care about is right now. especially the older you get. And look, to an extent, you can't be a guy that sells a dream for years and years and you show nothing. Don't be that fucking guy. But a lot of women will pressure you to do things right now to make them comfortable, regardless of the misery it puts you in. And the last thing you want to do, I've talked about this in previous videos, is you don't want to get stuck doing something because it pays enough, it's stable enough, you're unhappy about it, and then God forbid you have responsibilities like kids and you commit to buying a house. Once you buy a house, once you involve kids and shit, once you involve marriage, your freedom kind of goes out the window at that point. And so once you are kind of chosen in a direction, the only way out of it is you got to be able to make something that overcomes that income. Which, if you're going to a job 50 to 60 hours a week, realistically, I don't care what people say, be like, oh, you just gotta work. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's just have a guy that wakes up at 8 a.m., goes to work till 6, exercises, comes home, does X, Y, and Z, but he's supposed to work on his business from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. and get no sleep and continue that cycle because we live in this hustle culture when that's just not realistic. You're burning candles at both ends. He's either going to start being shitty at his actual job, or he's not going to really be able to put the amount of time and effort in education. Anyone says, I worked 3 jobs in college. No, you fucking didn't. You absolutely did not work 3 jobs in college. Everyone over-exaggerates. When I was in school, you know, yeah, you worked 3 jobs, meaning that during the summer you worked 1 job, during the school year you may work. You did not work 3 fucking jobs at the same time plus study. That just didn't fucking happen. 98% of these people that over-exaggerate their fucking struggle. But a lot of women, and take the woman aspect, it could just be people that care about you in your life. They will pressure you to do X, Y, and Z because your misery is their comfort. And honestly, you ever heard the term? You know, there's this trending thing online where people call C-Bum a dad bod. Like when he just took a regular picture in the off season. We're talking about Chris Bumstead, Mr. Olympia here. And he, even though he's, to the average person, completely jacked and everything, women were saying this was a dad bod. And that they actually preferred a dad bod over a guy who is muscular, in shape, jacked, ripped, in shape. They say they prefer dad bod. So what? Let's be honest of what they're really saying. A lot of women, they will want characteristics of you that are less than ideal, and they'll say this stuff because if you don't keep up with yourself physically, in most cases, they may feel pressure that they don't have to keep up with themselves in that manner. So there's no pressure on them to do better. And they always feel like they have to keep your attention away from other women, or they don't want to be with someone that gets really a lot of female attention, if we're really being honest with it. And I'm not saying you should be with someone who's like the most attractive, you know, be with who you feel is right for you. But there are people out there that do not want to date people that are really attractive or be with someone because they're afraid that someone's going to steal their man because they don't want to have to keep up with the type of woman that would physically be attracted to them, or her, whoever that may be. That is a real thing. So when people try to lower your standards to make them happy, you got to really look at what's happening there. Your misery brings them comfort because there's always a sense of control. They always find something to be unhappy about. It's a sense of, I can control, I can dictate this situation, which a lot of women, regardless of what they say, they want to be able to control a relationship and situation. They cannot stand being with someone that actually thinks for themselves and says no to shit. Most women these days cannot deal with being told no on anything. Now, I'm not speaking like a woman I've been with specifically, but I'm just saying what you see out there. You go on social media, there's a lot of people that are entitled out there. A lot of people think that they're entitled to be babysat. They just throw numbers out there. They just say stuff like a man's gotta make 50K a month. They don't even understand what house making 50K a month would buy. And that's the thing with social media economics, I think they call it, is you got people just throwing out absurd numbers because they met a guy once who talked to them at a lounge that made 1.5 million in real estate. So they think because he got them an Uber back to his place and fucked her in the nice penthouse, that's her standard now, when that guy never talked to her again. You know? So now everyone's got to make 50K a month, which is fine. Have whatever standard you want. But if you can't even say why, if you're going to say a number, you should be able to break down the economics of why someone making that much, what can it afford, and why it's important to you. Why someone can say any number. If you're going to sit here and talk about, I need to be with someone that makes a certain number, you should be able to break down the economics of why that number specifically funds whatever lifestyle you want. If you can't break it down, then honestly, people are just talking out of their ass. But there are people that watch that shit and they really start believing, well, damn, she looks kind of like me. I should be able to demand that. I should have higher expectations. At the minimum, men should be miserable for me. And the word provider has really gotten lost. And there are women out there that feel so entitled to being provided for, that they will watch their man be miserable doing what he's doing and not give a single fuck because he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. If you're willing to watch someone you care about and love be miserable for an extended period of time, then you don't really like or love them. Really, I mean, you may love them, but you don't like them, which is worse. Because at that point, it really is, I don't care what this makes you feel. I don't care if I'm attracted to you anymore or anything like that. This is what you signed up for. I don't care if you're miserable doing what you're doing. I don't care. And they'll treat you as such. I've seen it. We live in this generational thing where everyone wants to change people. And I'll give a great example. Women will do things subtly to test what you're willing to do outside of your comfort zone. And so you hear the word comfort zone and you think, oh, it's good to push your comfort zones. But really, sometimes there's a fine line between pushing past comfort zones to better yourself and pushing boundaries that don't align with what you're really about. A lot of women want to be public with you. You get in a relationship, they want to take pictures, they want to all of a sudden post everything on everything. Because, and then if you don't and you're not comfortable with it, you're accused of hiding them. When in reality, you understand as a guy the social media implications of what happens when your relationship goes bad and it's public. Because realistically, most relationships don't last. It doesn't mean you don't try to make it last, but a lot of women, they'll guilt trip you in the shit. They'll guilt trip you in, oh, you don't want to post me because you're hiding me. Oh, you don't want to have me meet your parents because you don't want people knowing about it. So that means you're not serious. You just view me as X, Y, and Z. When in reality, it's typically the only time really someone you're seeing should meet your parents, in my opinion, is if it's legitimately been quite a bit of time, you live together, or it's serious enough where maybe you're considering engagement. Because people break up with people for the dumbest reasons. And the older you get, you realize a lot of people, they want to do all of the checkpoints, but they're ignoring the actual, do we enjoy each other? We don't even know if we really get along with each other at this point. To work blindly just to be a respectable citizen is such horseshit. You're literally doing it just to please your fear of judgment and embarrassment when no one will reward you at the end of the day. It sucks being a provider, right? this isn't an anti-providing thing, right? Like, you should, as a guy, it's in your nature to provide for others. But when you do it, you should really be in a position to where it's not so damn hard and you're with someone that appreciates it. And from what I see a lot, too many people on the other side of the providing aspect, it's more of entitled than actual appreciation. Like, people don't realize no one has to do shit for you. You realize that, right? A guy would never leave the house. Now, I've talked about this. A guy would never leave the house with no money and think someone's just gonna take care of this. They're not gonna go out to a lounge or a bar and just think like, someone will pay for this. Women leave the house all the time. Like, when you have money for the Uber, someone will cover it. That's the mindset, especially if you're attractive and it's happened to you before. So everything becomes that, right? Now, there's a fine line where now the standards are so low that even opening the door for a woman is like considered like, oh my God, man of my dreams. But also, women you just meet will sit there and already talk about, well, you know, if you're not making money now, like, how do I know you can do X, Y, and Z? It's like, you don't make any money either. What the fuck are we talking about? Like, but going back to the point of, women care more about the perception of how stuff is perceived. It's not really about you having a job at a specific point in time, but the negative perception they would get from other girls. And your algorithm starts feeding you stuff to kind of change how you think about things, to question it. Like, you could be in a happy relationship, then you'll start getting videos about 5 signs your boyfriend might be slowly breaking up with you, drifting apart, how to know that you guys aren't solely matched. And one thing, maybe a recent experience you go through, and now your whole relationship is because of a random ass algorithm video. And online social media, the algorithm has changed relationships. If you are online, you're never going to be happy in your relationship. It really is that simple. Because human nature, if you see anything that reminds you of your relationship, even if you're just like, oh, whatever, it's in the back of your mind now. And, oh, if your boyfriend, if he never plans anything, he doesn't really care about you, because he's spending time with someone else, when it could just be, I just like spending time by myself too. And you run into this stuff, but people are online so much, and they get enough whipping boys. Like, I remember back in the day, Justin LeBoy, which he's kind of starting to get the wrath end from LaCroix, I think her name, Benzino's daughter, I think, where he's with her. And on her, I remember there was a clip on a podcast that went viral like a month or so ago where she said you cannot follow girls on social media. But she's literally on social media, has revealed her body. There are guys that she's been with in the past, like Blueface, that says she has the best pussy ever. His words, not mine. He can't follow girls on Instagram and all that stuff, and I'm not saying you should. It's kind of weird to be like, I want to follow these random ass half-naked girls. It's kind of weird, but at the same time, saying you can't do this, but it's okay for her social media presence to be a little bit different, right? It was very contradicting. And what you see is, you gotta understand, women are always looking at what else is out there, even if you're in a happy relationship. They're always, it does not matter how your established relationship in today's world, every day when people go on their phones, they are finding reasons to find stuff that's wrong with their relationship. They listen to one video by Sprinkle Sprinkle, I swear to God, your whole relationship might be done that day. Like, you know, they might start thinking about their future with you. It's happened to a lot of guys, alright? All it takes is all the stars to align, and your whole relationship could be questioned just because of an algorithm push on some things. It happens. Now, I would say, if all it took was a couple videos to break up your situation, it probably wasn't that strong to begin with, so look at it as a blessing in disguise. And also, if someone values other people's opinions and thoughts to make judgments on a person that they're personally spending time with, and they're taking videos with general judgments and that are very broad and don't apply to specific situations, then you know what, you're probably with someone that you probably don't want to be with long term anyways. But unfortunately, social media has kind of blindly influenced people, and it's influencers. What I want to get at is I've been with girls where, oh, you know, take pictures of us and like, you know, oh, let's take a picture. And, you know, once in a while, like, fine, you want to take a picture. But I don't want to, you know, once you like do this and do that, you know, you go public and all this stuff. You're opening a can of worms, man. Because once you do something once, now anytime you have any boundaries or resistance towards stuff, you've already broken that barrier where really you can't say no at this point without it looking suspect. Because why do you want to stop now to not take pictures together, to post this? How come you never do this? You never post anything of us. It happens, man. Like, it happens. So, it's very important as a guy that you do not let a woman dictate your beliefs. Do not let it discourse it. It does not mean you don't listen to your partner. And it doesn't mean you're financially responsible. But once they have shown to themselves that all they have to do is get on your ass enough for you to do some shit, then they're gonna always be on your ass when they want you to do some shit. Which sounds like, oh, they're motivating you. If you're a guy that's really self-motivated, you don't need other people to motivate you. And they're gonna use terms like, oh, they're gonna start putting labels on you. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you know, quit your job. I'll give an example. When I quit my job about a year or so ago in December. Now, I worked some part-time jobs and stuff like that, but nothing that was able... The first like month, it was like, you know, my girlfriend that I lived with was very supportive. Because she knew how much the job, you know, she actually genuinely cared about me. You know, I'll say that. She genuinely cared and loved me and all that good stuff. And she was supportive at first. She was actually kind of happy because she hated what the job was doing to me. So I took like a couple weeks to a month to figure out what to do next. So I got a part-time job. I literally got fired after a week and a half because I was the worst salesman ever. It was basically selling waterproofing. And it was a very sketchy thing. They wanted you to do some sketchy shit to just sell. They wanted you to basically sell shit to people that can't afford it. But whatever, I wasn't cut out for that. But then after that, I got another part-time job not too long after. And look, it was a job, but it wasn't really gonna make enough to cover all the bills or nothing. So she kind of like was like, so you know, had they increased your hours or what do you look? And like every couple days or week, it'd be like, hey, you know, what's going on? And then I left that job, right? And I just didn't find another job after that for a while. And it became very clear, like, I'm gonna just try to make money doing this trading stuff. Couldn't make any money because I was stressed and didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And you can feel the strain. You can feel the strain. Even the most honest and decent woman, you don't have a job for a period of time and you don't have the financial infrastructure in place to be able to make that last, it's going to cause problems. They're going to treat you different. They're going to look at you less than. They will start having a superiority complex towards you. It does not matter what you did the previous 2.5 years to make sure they were good. It does not matter if you meet a girl and you're dating her, she doesn't have any money. But because you don't have a stable job at the time, but you're pursuing things, all of a sudden they start talking to you a certain way because they feel they can. That happens. Women will treat you based off your economic viability. It's human nature. The only thing you can do is how you allow it or if it gets to a point where they actually are looking at you as just a person and they treat you as such, then you just gotta be like, I'm good. And you gotta move on. And you've gotta maybe realize, like, look, this is just the way of the world. I probably shouldn't be with someone if this is how most people are gonna treat you, realistically. Because it matters. It does not matter if she's someone that says it's not about the money. It's about the money at a certain point. So just don't be blinded to that. It all matters. The perception of you matters. The perception matters more than the actual reality of how you are together or how you treat each other. The perception of y'all, to most people these days, because of the power of social media, it matters. Because when her friends ask you, what does he do? And she can't give a straight answer. Their intent is, oh, so he doesn't have a, oh, so what is he working on? I mean, is that really someone you could be with? I mean, come on, like, you can do better. You know, they start getting that in their head because they're focused on right fucking now. While as a guy, you have to think about now, what you're doing now, how it affects tomorrow, the next month. Because with guys, it's about building. With a woman, it's about maintaining. It's about, we want something better, but don't understand that the progress of getting better sometimes involves a slow buildup. So, and women don't want to start over the older they get. They don't want to start over with the guy who's starting a business or start over with the guy that's doing a fun side thing, you know? They want a guy that can make money and make time for them, and, you know, that's it. They don't give a fuck about your hobbies. They don't give a fuck about your dreams the older you get. And they shouldn't. Let's just be honest. As a grown man, it is not another person's responsibility to care or fund your dreams. But you gotta make a decision that if there's any negativity that's interfering with that, you gotta make a choice that if it's gonna interfere with that, then you gotta probably make a choice to just go your own way. And I hate that men go their own way. That's a really simplistic and it's kind of over the top. But what it really is you got to be able to walk away from stuff when it's pretty obvious that it's not really going to be supportive of what you're working on, that's actually going to make you happy. And you're not going to be the resentful fucking guy that hates his life and hates his sexless marriage because his wife's with him just because that's their only form of economic viability, and what you do is unenjoyable and you're miserable because you try to appease others by making yourself miserable. Is that a way you want to live? If you can forecast that ahead of time and avoid big commitments before you are ready for them and understand the implications, you will typically be alright. Alright?